Aloha everyone, young and old, and thank you for watching our program today. Sparky Would Go, a Kauai talk show for the whole family. United States Senator Spark Matsunaga was born on October 8, 1916, and raised on Kauai, Hawaii. Born Masayuki Matsunaga, the beloved Sparky nickname was given to him by his elementary school friends. Sparky liked the name so much, though, that he legally added it to his birth name after World War II. If we emphasize the life and works of our greatest contributors, people will come to realize that moral courage is bravery of the highest type, and America will be called the champion of peace. Sparky was a political visionary who dedicated his life to peace and a united world. This program series honors those people and organizations who are living examples of how to persevere through the hard times, showing us that our lives are worth living. All right, aloha everyone. My name is Mark Jeffers. This is our oral history project, and I'm sitting by a very renowned friend of mine, and she's got some amazing stories. I'm really looking forward to getting into her storytelling. But just to let you know, our oral history interviews have to do with the idea of resilience, living long and well, and overcoming obstacles in our lives. And so that's why we really think that Graceleanor Baird is one of the greatest opportunities that we have to learn about people who grew up in another generation. So let's get started. Hi, Graceleanor.
Hi.
Yeah, well.
Another generation, 2 or 3 generations.
I wouldn't say anything there. But, you know, I mean, I have Graceleanor's bio sheet here, and it's really fun to look at a bio sheet like this because you get to discover so much of your life just by reading, and then you get to fill in the blanks.
Okay.
All right. So Graceleanor is here at Kauai Care Center, and we've been graciously invited to take part and do this interview in the cafeteria, Grace? This is the cafeteria.
No, it's just a dining hall.
Oh, sorry, the dining hall. And this is a place you really like.
What?
You like to be here.
Yeah, I do. I'm very. I'd rather be in my own house, but then I don't have people working for me. Then here I get what I want.
Good service.
I get it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Good. Well, we're happy that you're healthy and happy too.
Very.
And so when we think about your life and we go back in time and we bring it right up to the future, we have to talk about where you're from and your family. So let's start there.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about where you grew up as a child.
Okay, I grew up in the middle western United States, born in Indiana, in an interesting little town, Winona Lake, Indiana, which was in those days was a religious Bible conference town, and they would have all these big. Billy Sunday's hometown was Winona Lake, Indiana. Anyhow, I was born there, lived there for 6 years, and then my dad, who had involved with travel agencies, and the war coming along. Was working in St. Louis, but we found a home in Chicago, moved to an apartment from a little dinky house in Winona Lake to a pretty good sized house.
And what years were these? You were born in
1928.
28.
Almost
so
97 years
World
ago.
War II, before the Great Depression.
Oh, well, during the
During the Great Depression, right?
Yeah.
And was that affecting you?
And well, you know, it's interesting because people always relate those years with the Depression. I don't remember them being particularly difficult because everybody had the same problem.
I get it.
And it was a small town.
Yeah.
And so nobody was interested in income per se. It was, we'll help you out. We'll do. I'm a grocer. You have all the groceries you need, and
we're in this together.
Yeah, and so I didn't know it was to be poor. And but by the time I was 7, my dad had to move to Chicago, and again he worked in downtown Chicago in a travel agency, and we lived there from 1939 to 1951.
Wow.
The family, yeah.
So your father is Jesse McKinney,
Jesse, mm-hmm.
and Jesse's work was he was a
Travel agent.
Wow. So
Well,
he was
when
helping
he
people
started
travel.
out as a young man, he worked for the Canadian Pacific Railroad. He always worked with the travel industry, but it was always in a sort of a pseudo-administrative position. Never drove a train. I don't even drive trains.
Right. He just got people a good ticket or something.
But Bill, he got people on the train, and he got them who, if they were stranded somewhere, that he helped them get unstranded.
What do you remember about your father that stands out in your mind?
Well, he was always Pop to everybody.
Pop.
That me, Pop. when I knew him, he was a travel agent. He was the agent from New York Central Railroad train.
Wow.
In Chicago.
Okay.
He knew everything about everything on the trains.
Right.
But
how did he include you and your sisters and brothers?
He got me passes on the railroad. I was 21 years old before I knew you had to have a ticket to get on the train.
That's funny.
I just would get on, and we would go to. One time, I was visiting them when they were living in northern Indiana, and Daddy was all excited. He had retired by then, but New York Central was running a Honeymoon Express, a train, special train through Niagara Falls, and we were to see it could go through. Well, not go through it, but to see it go through the district. We lived my mother and Dad lived in a little town out of Chicago. Well, anyhow, we got all excited about going to see this. Went to the railroad crossing, just a highway crossing, and waited for that train to come through. And I expected something really, draped in white and all sorts of things.
Sure.
And it was just a train. It wasn't even nothing on the side that said Honeymoon Express on it.
Just married.
But he was so excited because that train was the first one. Thank you, Daddy. It's 10 o'clock at night, and I'm getting up to watch this dumb train go.
So you had brothers and sisters. How many of each?
Excuse me. I had two sisters. I had one sister 6 years older than I, and another sister 10 years older than I, and then my brother was 14 years older than I. So I was a single child with brothers and sisters. No, nobody could figure that one out.
So you were the baby of the family.
Very much.
And they would, I'm not going to say wait on you, but they made sure that you had.
Took care of me.
Yeah.
My brother, for example, the summer that I was like 5 years old, something, and I got sick. I don't know what I had, but anyhow, had to be taken care of more or less. And John, my brother, by this time he was like about 19. Out of high school, but working but he took care of me. If I had to go somewhere, he carried me on his shoulders.
Oh, great!
And if I had to get something, he got it for me. He would have died if given him the impression that he was helping me do anything.
Right.
But he was and always he, as an adult, was always very. Conscious of me and helped me, never made it look like it was something he was doing.
Well, great to have a brother like that.
Yeah, he was a good brother.
So you guys were a close family then?
Yeah, we're close not in the sense that we were fussing over each other, but we took care of each other.
That's good.
And we recognized that we were all special, and it was our responsibility to take.
Tell me something about your mother.
Very different. Very, very quiet, pretty much the boss in the family without being bossy.
That's great.
It's not easy. And I look back as a mother myself, and I think of the things that we did that were similar in that it's the old German way of doing things. My mother was raised in a relatively European way, not anyhow. But what she said went. It was what Mother said, not what Daddy said. But
Yeah.
Daddy wasn't home much of the time because he was always off at church.
Did they ever do a thing where wait till your father gets home? Or did she handle it pretty much
Are you
on
kidding?
her own?
Are you kidding?
I don't
No, I mean, we never did things that were wrong.
Oh, yeah, right. I
Come
don't
on.
believe that.
No. Her law was the law.
Yeah.
Daddy, I can only remember one time spanking me. Do we spank children in those days? Yes, indeed.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, indeed,
Oh,
we
yeah.
did. But as I say, I can only remember my dad spanking me once, maybe twice. Mm-hmm. But my mother, I can remember. we got those regularly.
Yeah.
We should keep our skin loose.
Now, your father was Scots-Irish,
Yeah.
no, Scots-English.
No,
Your mother
Scots-Irish,
was
German-English.
German-English.
He was Scots-Irish.
So there was some cultural upbringing there. That anything that you remember about their cultural, that they brought into specifically into
It
the
wasn't-
family, like language or
No,
traditions or
Oh, maybe.
activities?
No, my dad, my father was an only child.
Uh-huh.
And as I explained earlier, a child of a family the mother married when she was in her late 30s, a man who was 70.
Yeah.
And so there wasn't wasn't much of a family.
Right.
But I don't remember him talking too much about his childhood. He was an only child. He was spoiled rotten. And they were fanatics on some things, some really weird things, but not cultural. They were because they were.
Yeah, okay. So
crazy.
you weren't Oktoberfest putting on your lederhosen and
Yeah,
those
no,
kinds of things.
no,
Okay.
no.
So, but I have a question for you about that I always think about with culture and family, which is, tell me about a Christmas around your house.
A tree and lights and nothing special.
Nothing special?
Nothing, and nothing was carried on. We used the same decorations year after year after year.
Right.
Except the year that we moved from Chicago from Winona Lake to Chicago was December 1st of December, and on the way into Chicago, the moving truck got caught fire. And all the stuff was pulled off the fire.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
And some of the stuff was left behind when they got the fire put out and everything taken care of.
Right.
And what was left behind was all of our Christmas decorations.
Ah.
So we had a Christmas with none of the family decorations.
Wow! You had to make your own.
But we did, and by that time my dad was working as this travel agent. Worked in an office where they had all kinds of art equipment and colored paper and paste and stuff. And so we did all that kind of stuff. I remember that Christmas.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, and then we built new traditions from that point on.
Do you remember anything you got or you gave during those Christmas years? Anything in particular? A bike? Or
A white kitten. Snow.
Wow, you got a kitten for
I
Christmas?
Well, and the smart kitten, they had to be very smart because when she came down the stairs, a really kitten, nobody had designated that she was to be my kitten. But she decided she was to be my kitten.
That's great.
And she came down the stairs and walked right into my lap. And I was a hot dog at that time. And that I had Snowball. And we've had cats ever since, but never a special one like Snowball.
Snowball was her name.
She was white.
Yeah.
And she had to be Snowball.
Snowball.
And we've had lots of cats since then.
I know. One of the first times I ever came over to your house,
What did we get?
there were like 2 cats.
They're probably
Pretty
30,
much,
30.
They were pretty much in every room and watched my every movement.
Of course, they're the rest of the family.
I want to just take a moment and just to tell you that Graceleanor Baird used to be the president of our Storybook Theater. And so that's one of the ways that I know her. But it's not the only thing that I admire about you. I think that, anyone who can see a nonprofit organization struggle and step up to the plate and help out for the years that you did. That, to me, just really makes me feel
I was
great.
a nonprofit organization all my life.
A walking nonprofit organization.
That's right. I can't remember ever making any profit on anything.
That's great. It says here, my dear, that you traveled and you lived in different places.
Oh, boy, yeah.
Hawaii, California, Nevada, Michigan. And then at some point you were telling me about this incredible story about you and your husband coming to Hawaii. Do you remember anything about those other places you lived? And then could you jump into the Hawaii part?
Well, the Hawaii was the first.
Okay.
We came to, well, as a matter of fact, California was the first. Because when you come from Illinois to California, it's a whole other
Culture
world.
shock. Yeah.
And when we came in on the California Zephyr and came into the first town in California, and I was so excited. And of all things I saw was palm trees. Oh, and it was we were in the Vista Dome of the California Zephyr, and I'm shouting like crazy, "Oh, it's a palm tree, a palm tree." The rest of the people sitting on in the Vista Dome with this woman is crazy, nuts.
Just because you see a palm tree.
Who saw a palm tree, for heaven's sake? But and then from there, the 3 years in California, then we came to Hawaii, and my first impressions of those days was when I got off the plane. I thought, I'll never wear perfume again. You don't need to wear perfume in Hawaii. You take a deep breath, and you've got
flowers,
perfume. It was just wonderful. It's still that way.
Right.
Back in the old days when the airport was a little bitty dinky airport.
Do you remember the plane that you flew? Was it a
No, well, when we came to
DC-3 or
Hawaii the first time, no.
Sikorsky?
Oh, I don't know. It had wings and,
Yeah, it had
and
wings
a
and a
propeller. And it was, the year was what's the Roman
19
Catholic anniversary year. But there were a plane load of, our partners were nuns.
Oh my gosh.
And when we got to Kauai, and I was talking to people later on about that had some nuns on the flight, and Dr. Mulholland, who was the other chaplain, said, but none of that rubbed off on her. And, thanks a lot, John. But
that's funny.
Anyhow,
So when you came to Hawaii that time, you were just traveling. You were bound to go back to where you come from. You weren't coming here to live.
Oh no! First step on Hawaii, we were hired as my husband was hired as chaplain of Kamehameha.
Yeah. Now let's talk about that. Graceleanor started a story that her husband Lyle was at the seminary.
Yeah.
And you were, I'm going to say, struggling a bit to try to make sure that he finished in good fashion and that you found good work when you were finished with seminary. But then there was a kind of a interesting mystery moment when you discovered something that opened up your whole life. I guess you could say that. I mean, you were
the letter that I read
letter.
that I should never have read.
Yeah.
It's helping Lyle in his job to help us get through seminary as a janitor in the seminary itself. We figured out that because he was struggling to keep study time. He's supposed to work 4 hours, and he worked 4 hours. If he worked 2 hours and I worked 2 hours, then we would get through faster.
Right.
And one night had the duty of cleaning the president's office, and did as I always did and never should have done, was read stuff that was on Dr. Baird's office. Mm-hmm. And in the course of time, read a letter from somebody from some school that had a name that nobody could pronounce, Kakao something or other. I still have it. And they were asking for a seminary, and this was in mid-August, so it was obviously looking for someone to fill a position soon.
So this is after the war,
After what?
World War II.
Oh yeah, this was 1950.
1951?
54. We were married
54.
in 51, so it was 50.
Okay.
Yeah, 54. And so I told Lyle, oh, that sounds interesting in Hawaii. And he looked at me like, you're not supposed to be reading this sort of stuff, and I can't do a thing about it, but just think about it. But he thought about it. I mean, it was 2-3 weeks in circumstances came about that he was told that was his position. And so he immediately applied for it. And we always laughed about it, the fact that nobody else applied for the job.
Did you already know that they were going to ask you to apply?
Did I already know what?
Did you know that we're going to ask you to apply for the job?
Oh no, we were
Okay.
going to do it on our end.
Yeah.
But it was the strange thing was when we finally were hired, and when my husband was hired, we hesitated to tell our classmates because in Hawaii, come on.
Yeah, right.
Do you know that not one person expressed any envy whatsoever?
Oh my
And
God.
in some cases, it was like, oh my gosh, who would want to go to Hawaii? And you want to get your mind, of course you would. Anyhow, that's always been the case. People we've known have said, oh, in school, in Hawaii, you had blah, blah, blah. And, well, you get,
Hard place to live, perhaps, in those days.
Expensive.
But when you entered the islands, you stepped right into the job, right?
Oh, practically, it was less than a week before school started.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it was out of the frying pan into the fire.
And what positions did you have there?
Okay, well, we went with me not having any job. Lyle went as associate chaplain to John Mulholland. John Mulholland had been the chaplain there for a number of years and was well known there. But in the course of conversation, the first weekend we were at the school beach cottage, and school hadn't started yet, but everybody had been hired, and somebody had mentioned the fact that they hadn't hired a director of Christian education yet.
Oh, okay.
And well, that's your business, not mine. Well, have you ever had any experience working with little kids? Well, yes, I have. With conversation, by the end of the day, I was hired as a director of Christian education.
Director of Christian Education,
yeah, which
for
involved.
Kamehameha Schools.
I had no idea what it involved.
You didn't read the job description.
No, they didn't tell me. But it was a matter of teaching the younger children, and that was a little bit out of my kuleana, but I didn't know the difference, and so I.
By younger, you meant preschool age or kindergarten?
Third grade on
right.
it. And it never went much before that, but it was and it was only a matter of teaching one class at a time, but I'd have 4 third grade classes one week, or one day a week for 1 third grade class. So I was kept busy all.
So this is Christian education that you were teaching to this grade
It was
level,
like
this third
Sunday
grade.
school.
Right,
Like
a
Sunday
Sunday school.
Yeah,
You were introducing them to Christianity.
Yeah, right. And it was all the way through 7th grade at that time.
Oh, okay.
And that was, and the older the kids got, the more, and the longer. I only had them one period a week, but I had a class every day and many days.
So tell me this, usually as a teacher who works with that age children, after so many years, say they graduate from school and start their own family, do you get people coming up, did you at that time coming up and going, Mrs. Baird, do you remember me?
Oh. I still do.
Oh my gosh.
And I have their grandchildren that don't tell me you're so good. I don't want to know that.
Yeah.
But, oh yes, they're.
How long were you there at Kamehameha School?
We were at the two of them. We had an apartment on the campus, and so we were decidedly part of the group. 10 years. I was there for 5. because at the end of those 5 years, we adopted our first child.
I was going to ask you, did you start your family there when you had your home there
Yeah,
and stuff?
we started we had a 2-bedroom apartment, and adopted a youngster from Child and Family Service, and who was an absolute. Of course, he was mine, and so it was perfect.
Yeah.
But
Well, who was your son? What was your son?
well, Chris was 3 months old when we adopted him. He was a very good, nice child. I didn't have any aches and pains that a new mother would have to worry about.
Yeah.
And was the king of the campus. The boys, we were living on the boys' school campus at that time, and the boys would they just thought he was great, and would carry him off places. I never knew where he was. And but by the time he was about almost 2, Lyle began to get the itch to get. He always had wanted to go into the military as a chaplain, but at the time when he was looking for a new job, he had an eye disability. But in the meantime, they had changed the Navy had changed their requirements in his eye condition.
Wasn't a problem?
Yeah, so he applied anyhow and got accepted.
So he became a chaplain in the Navy.
Navy chaplain. And so then we left Kamehameha.
And that was in the year
1962.
62. So you'd been there about 10 years at Kamehameha, and so you left when Lyle became the Navy chaplain.
Yeah, but by that time we had adopted another child. He had been there 7 years at Kamehameha and had a sabbatical. So we took a year off. He went back and got his master's degree at San Anselmo, same seminary.
I see.
And but on the week that we came back from a year away, got a telephone call from Child and Family Service saying, "Were we interested in another child?"
Yeah.
Oh no! Then well, yeah, you can't turn them down, and you can't say no. I don't like that kid. I want this one.
Yeah.
And so finally, after much talking about it and a good deal of praying, we decided, we would adopt Kathy, because Chris was such a good little boy.
Yeah.
That we would have a good little girl. And so we adopted Kathy. Well, Kathy was a good little girl, but she had all kinds of aches and pains, and she cried in the middle of the night, which wasn't supposed to happen. And
you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah. But anyhow, we kept her.
Where were you living?
We were living at Kamehameha.
Okay.
And in a boys' school apartment. But by that time Lyle was been 10 years. He realized he really wasn't a teacher. He was a minister, and his opportunities to become a pastor were limited to ringing out grades and disciplining kids and
Sure. That's
it wasn't what he liked.
Right.
So that's what he. I couldn't have stayed at Kamehameha for the rest of my life because I was a teacher. So he decided he would apply at the Navy, see what they wanted him. And they said, yeah, we'll take this. This was in 1962.
And the Navy, when you said the word Navy, that means Oahu, Pearl Harbor situation.
Well, yeah, as a reservist.
Yeah.
But our first, so in 1962, I guess, he went on regular duty with the Navy. And by that time we had 2 children. Our first tour of duty, first assignment, Navy in regular. He was a reservist, but he was a full-time Navy. Was San Diego.
I see, because that's the big naval area.
Oh yeah, 10 jillion, and everything was Navy. And I love San Diego. And I always said if I ever had to leave Hawaii, God forbid, I would like to go back to San Diego because it's a lovely town. But it was the first house we ever owned, because we always lived in other kinds of housing, and so we owned our first house, and we left Kamehameha at the end of June and joined the Navy at the beginning of July.
So you were a full-time mom at that point? You weren't
by
teaching
that
anymore?
No. I taught only until we got Chris. But he left. When his first day of duty was whatever the 1st of July was, and I think it was 10 days later, and he was on sea duty.
Wow.
I said, yeah, wow, it's right.
So there you are.
We barely moved the house, barely got the sort of, I don't even remember if he was there when the movers brought the furniture stuff. I can't remember those days. They were had 2 children at that time.
Too much to do, yeah.
You know, but and he was gone for 6 months, and it was. I don't remember it being hectic. It was we survived, moved into a new neighborhood. Everybody was new in the neighborhood, and they were good neighbors. And
mostly Navy people.
In San Diego, you can't be a Navy.
Person, right.
No, they weren't all, but they understood the Navy.
Sure.
Yeah. But it was, but his being gone 6 months at a time.
You remember the boat or the?
Oh, the SS, the Desron 15, 4 ships. He was chaplain for the 4 in the Desron, destroyers. And so his job was, his office was on one ship, but we had the crew on
the other ships as well, the whole part of the
And he loved the Navy. He would have loved to just stay in the Navy permanently.
Oh, okay.
But and I liked it. I did. I was afraid of it. I had all sorts of rumors that, you know, the Navy wives were the worst kind and all that kind of. I'll survive.
Take it as it comes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had been doing it all, but might as well keep on.
Sure.
And it turned out, as I say, it turned to be a very good experience. We enjoyed it immensely. His first tour was there 2 years in San Diego. In the Navy, if you're in a place more than 2 years, it's because they've lost your records. The Air Force can be someplace for 2 or 3 years, and they don't. But in the Navy, if you're in 2 years and 1 month, you're out of the Navy.
Wow.
They've lost you somewhere.
Were there good schools there for your kids?
Yes, they were not anything to worry about at all. Mm-hmm. And Chris, by that time, Chris was in 1st grade. Kathy, she went to kindergarten, I guess. No, she didn't. She was in 1st grade. They didn't have a kindergarten there. University City was the branch of was the suburb of San Diego that we lived in, up in La Jolla. I had a neighbor who was very conscious of position, and of course living near La Jolla is pretty so. And we had the opportunity. Beg your pardon. In our telephone registration, they listed in the telephone book.
You want to cut for a second? No? Okay. So you're in San Diego, and your children are young kids. They're 1st or 2nd grade, kindergarten and 1st grade.
And the Navy, we were San Diego, went from San Diego to Las Vegas. And what the Navy is doing in Las Vegas is another story that I will not start with.
That's funny.
And back to San Diego for another 2-year tour, so we got 6 years there. And then we're stationed at Detroit, Michigan.
I see.
It was in the beginning of the 70s.
Right.
I can't remember the name of the base. Anyhow, by that time, when we were in Las Vegas, Cindy was born.
Okay.
We laughed about Cindy being our little jackpot in Las Vegas.
That's funny.
And I should have called her Jacqueline, but didn't call us Indian instead. And so then we had 3, and life was typical Navy life. I thoroughly enjoyed. Didn't enjoy being alone, but I managed because I was with other women who were Navy wives
Navy
too.
people, right?
And sometimes those women needed a lot of help, and sometimes they helped me.
Sure.
So the nice community
Worked out okay.
And again, we could have done that the rest of our lives, and it would have been all right. But the Navy had otherwise, and the Lord had otherwise too. Mm-hmm. And we applied for. I helped write 100 letters of resume
Yeah.
for a job in 1961. Mm-hmm. No, not 1961.
So you're applying, Lyle, to...
From the Navy back to civilian life, to other churches.
I see.
You know that not one of those 100 churches inspired.
Oh, my gosh.
It was at the end of the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
And nobody wanted a former Navy chaplain as a minister.
I see.
And even his home church did not respond.
That's so amazing.
So all of a sudden, we had a letter saying from Chet Terpstra, who was the conference minister here in Hawaii, we had put an application in on. Anyhow, very long story short, the churches at that time were the 3 churches on Kauai were looking for a minister.
Wow.
One minister.
For the 3 churches.
Those 3 churches were, at that time, we were separate churches, but they were all the United Church, the Hawaiian Church, the Japanese Church, and the foreign church.
The Hawaiian United Church of Christ.
Yeah, they were. But at that time, they were not. They were just superficially the United Church of Christ.
Right.
None of them were officially that I remember, and I didn't worry about that sort of thing because by that time, the kids are. Chris was the youngest one was not in school yet. But anyhow, they were 3 children.
Where were the churches? Here in Waimea?
The same buildings that are.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the churches that are now part of the
United Church of Christ.
United Church of Christ out in Waimea.
Right.
And but they were the same buildings, and they had the same congregations. And in the years that we were here as minister and one priest following law were 3 separate governments, but they have since joined. So
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Sort of.
In a way.
Yeah. Because culturally, that's...
Sure, I remember...
That was a real surprise and a real change. But by that time, we'd had a lot of experience in Hawaii and knew a lot of the ins and outs of what you do with certain situations.
You were a Kamehameha already.
Japanese congregation was very Japanese, very, very welcome as long as we stayed Japanese. The Hawaiian church was wonderful, and then just as open and friendly it could possibly be. And
sure.
The Haole church, which is foreign church, the same thing. But since then, we've learned to do.
So Lyle was the pastor of the 3 churches.
All 3 churches.
That so totally amazes me.
It was not an easy job.
Yeah, because he had to be on call for each of church.
And it's true, and that made it a 3 times 24-hour a day job.
Where were you living, Grace?
In that beautiful parsonage is up.
Where Olaf lives now.
Yeah. It was a really
it's a beautiful place.
Great place to live. For the people of, they had been without a minister for 2 years. George Baybrook was his minister previously, so it had taken them 2 years to find us, and they were glad to get it. We had. Yeah,
we know the feeling of that one.
And 2 legs, and that was fine. And they treated us like we were royalty. They were really great people. And our memories of those days are very, very good memories.
And were you teaching then,
No,
or were you were still a full-time mom?
I was not teaching, no. I didn't teach until, well, the kids were in school. I had to be home and take care of them.
Right.
Cindy was just a first grader. So it was...
To the late 70s then, or early 80s already.
Late 70s, yeah. Can't remember when my first... I was a non-tenured teacher for 8 years. And I swear, I took a record in being the oldest non-tenured teacher in the state of Hawaii.
So that means that you're not entitled to...
I had a job just for that year, and nothing more.
Temporary kind of thing.
But I had good jobs, and I learned lots of things in them. From taught 7th grade 1 year and 8th grade another.
So you started in middle school teaching?
Started
in intermediate school age children.
Yeah, and then ended up in high school, but in each place, I learned different teachers that I was said.
Sure.
I was learning things, even though I hadn't been trained as an elementary school teacher.
Sure.
I learned a lot of things.
What was the secret to your success? Because anybody that stays in teaching for a number of years has to have a way with children. What did you like about those young people at that age?
I just like kids.
Yeah.
They were. It always changed. I could go to work one morning and it would be one thing, and the next day it would be something entirely different. And it could be World War III, or it could be a honeymoon.
What kinds of personal things did the children come to you with? Did they bring their family things to you?
Some did, and some would just to keep out of here. I don't want you anywhere near me.
Yeah.
And I laugh now because I had a reputation anywhere I went, and it reflected the way I was raised, that what I said goes. And that if we're going to do it this way, we're going to do it right, or we're not going to do it wrong. So I was a strict teacher. And this kid, not their favorite teacher, a lot of the kids. But I meet the same kids now that hated my guts.
Yeah.
Oh, you were my favorite teacher. You're right. You were ready to kill me.
Yeah.
But but I liked them, and I guess I was always honest with them.
Yeah.
And I've often felt it must be a terrible job if you don't like it, but I like teaching.
Right, and what we know is that if you last more than 5 years, generally speaking, you can teach and were made to be a teacher. If you don't make it to that 5th year, then you shouldn't be there at all.
I would say your 2nd year.
Oh, okay, you said year number 2.
But really, there's a flexibility you have to have.
Yeah.
There's a genuine, you got to be honest. And kids, they know what's going on, and they may not know that they know what's going on, but they know if you're being honest or not.
Could you tell us about 1 or 2 students that you remember that touched your life?
Oh, to a bunch of them.
Sure.
I'm thinking of one particular boy. Of 2 boys in the family, handsome, good students. The youngest one I had as a freshman, I think it was, freshman, obviously misplaced in my class, as I had a class, he was in a class of youngsters that was just barely getting by, and getting by with as little as they could. And
I know those kind of kids.
He was perfectly happy to do as little as he possibly could. But I knew there was more there, and I went to administration. Back in those days, Rodney Houston was the principal, and what a gentleman he was. Anyhow, I thought that this kid he doesn't belong in my class.
Yeah.
He should be in so-and-so. You put him in a college
More excelled,
class. So and he relieved me and put the kid in and the kid hated me. Oh gosh, he hated me because I made him work, and then the other teacher would say, "Hey, college." Since then, he's still here. I've met him several times. He was a policeman for a while, and he was and every time I meet him, he throws his arms around. He'd throw his arms around my neck when he was in high school. But he really was a perfectly good example
Well, I'm so glad that you've had that effect on young people, because I know that they appreciate it. And you probably knew it at the time that,
Well,
just relax and go through this, my friend, and then you'll
Yeah.
come out on the other end of it. Graceleanor, I wanted to ask you, maybe, could you tell us a little bit about your family, if you would like to talk about the passing of your husband? That's okay if you don't, but how your family grew up, and how you stay in touch with each other now, kind of thing.
well, well, when Lyle died in 1977 at age 49, which is pretty young for a young father. But at that time, Chris was 17, Kathy was 15, and Cindy was 10. I had no time to sit around and feel sorry for myself. I had to take care of those kids.
Yeah.
And I had to do it, and I realize now that I did it rather inconspicuously, because they were not aware of the fact that I was taking care of them.
That's funny.
They were taking, things went not smoothly. It was not my favorite time of life, but it was still, again, with the neighbors over in Hawaii, people helped out, people understood.
Sure.
And helping out was much more than just giving me things and doing things, but it was understanding and taking me into consideration too. And then, so we adjusted quite well. The children went off to college and did well in school and so forth. And then, just 10 years ago, Chris married a girl from Hawaii, a very much of a Hawaiian girl, 2/3 Hawaiian as I recall.
Uh-huh.
But and lived in Honolulu, and laughingly, he had trained in college to work with children in a nonprofit organization type of thing. At a time when the nonprofits were not doing too well. You know about that.
I don't know anything about that. Right.
Yeah, and all I could do was find a job teaching school. And he came, and he had to go back to teaching credits, and ended up teaching at the detention home in Honolulu.
Wow.
Not the kids that were the real criminals,
Right.
but youngsters who were
Job Corps kind of people. They had a chance to
yeah,
succeed, right?
and loved it. And they loved
Wow.
him. They loved him. They just thought he
Wow.
was wonderful. And I laughed because he said the last thing he wanted to be a teacher.
Yeah, he saw you go through it, that's
Yeah,
why,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But you were substituting all those years too, right?
Oh,
you
yeah.
didn't stop
Yeah,
teaching.
I
You
don't-
just
I don't
kept
know
going,
any better.
right?
I don't know any better.
She doesn't know any better.
But really, again, I'm not a person to sit home and join clubs.
Yeah,
and
that's what we know about
do
you.
nothing. I had to do something, and I do enjoy teaching.
So now,
Anyhow.
and you still have a perception of young people nowadays. Could we wrap it up by you talking about what you feel young people need to learn now to be successful?
I think in a way, I think the first person that needs to learn something is his parents, as young children. I see kids being raised, but not being raised, being turned loose and let do as they please, and however much it costs them, and not taking any responsibility themselves. And I think that parents, I know as far as teachers are concerned, I used to say to them when I was substituting, I wish I could leave a note and say to the teacher that I was teaching for, I wish you would put these kids in their seat and sit them down and say, sit down and be quiet and let's get to work. I'd come to class and no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
And they didn't. Anyhow, but young people today have tremendous opportunities. I have grandchildren that are on the verge of getting new jobs and so forth, and I don't necessarily feel sorry for them, But I realize that there's responsibilities that they have looking for jobs nowadays, and living their life. And one young man who is an Air Force officer and has to be away from home more than he's at home, but having to adjust to that. One's graduating from college, who knows what he hasn't decided what he wants to do.
Right.
And one that's been out of college for 4 or 5 years, and he'll think of something to do.
Well, so you see young people in your family as well as having opportunities in our world. And so critical really is their, I guess you'd say, their skill at making good choices for themselves. So where do you learn that? Where do you learn how to make a good choice?
Well, the one right now that is still trying to decide what he's going to do is doing what I think he should do. He's taking all kinds of jobs. He's all kinds of.
There we go.
And at the end of each year or so, with a job, you say, well, I don't want to be one of those the rest of my life. Eventually, he's going to find something that he's going to want to do the rest of his life. And he really is, and will do it well. He's still a good person. And it seems to me that so many times they forget that what they have to be is a good person, regardless of what job they have. You know, they can be a grocery store clerk.
Yeah, I think that as long as they know they're gaining those experiences and they keep on a steady course with their own, call it morality, or their own sense of self-confidence or self-concept, then they're going to end up doing something they really like and contribute.
Well, that, and I realize often, I think my 3 children that I'm responsible for, are they really doing what I want them to do? And then they'll come up with something, they'll say something, or they'll do something, and they'll think, my gosh, I taught them something after that. I can't believe it.
Yeah, right.
And
I want to take your hand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it's been a nice, good time. It's always nice to talk to you.
Hey, Grace.
You're a good friend.
Thank you. Thanks so much.